Ugh, okay, anyway, my phone ran out of space, but that's okay. So, back to the apartment shiz. Literally in this apartment, at the end of my bed, had a giant hole in the ceiling. Anytime it rained, it would just pour. And same with my living room, my hallway. It would be, I have videos of this. It would be so flooded in my apartment. Every time. But there was a lot of mold, and we got really sick, obviously. Anyway, so, I don't remember what I was getting at before. Oh, but, I was really able to catapult that moment and manifest, right? I didn't want to be in the situation anymore. I really sat down and internalized where I had to take the accountability. What was I doing in this situation? Like, literally, what was I doing? Was I making things worse? Was I in my own way? You know, what was going on? So I recognized, okay, like I can get out of here. I need to, you know, do things differently with my social media. And at that point, I wasn't really on social media. I was on OF and Facebook, really. Um, so, yeah. So then, um, at that point, it's hard to describe, but I got this feeling of like, and truthfully, I think a lot of my spiritual journey started and my manifesting things got stronger when I moved back to Arizona after my grandma died. And I think that was meant to happen. I think I'm kind of meant to continue her energy in a crazy sense. She's the whole reason why I cook and love cooking and love food and stuff like that. Um, and I can only wonder if she had an opportunity in this life at this period of time, if she would be a restaurant owner and stuff like that with her recipes, you know, instead of being married for her life as a housewife and stuff like that. So, I tried to, you know, live in honor of her or whatever you want to call it, but I think that's kind of propelled things. So if you have someone who's in the other side, you can most certainly ask them for help, you know? And a lot of people think this is going to sound crazy, but a lot of people think that like you know, that's not allowed because the Bible says, but your ancestors your family, whoever's passed, they are in a different realm. They are experiencing an energy that you don't understand and you won't be able to comprehend, but they can help you. And so that's my belief anyway. So I, especially if you want to heal generational trauma, lineage in your family and stuff, I think it's very imperative to work with the ancestors who were doing the right thing in your family, right? So, uh, I think, you know, during around that time, of course, like I mentioned, the tripping, the psychedelics and stuff helped a lot, kind of heal through trauma and understand the things that I wanted. Because at that point, I was like, I really want to be a millionaire. I never said that to myself, but I was like, I want to be a millionaire. Because how else am I supposed to survive in my fucking life with my joints like this? I think I'm just gonna have to. Well, I hope not. But my joints, I hope I don't have to just have the smoothie and nothing but the smoothie for the rest of my life. I hope I can eat fun food. Maybe it'll have to be a little less than moderate, but nonetheless. Um, but I think during this time, you know, I've had so many battles, financial and uh, physical, and so those have always stressed me out. And on top of it, I had, you know, the trauma that I've been through. So, at that point, like I said, I was going through so much pregnancy and eviction. The eviction had passed, and I was going through the pregnancy. And I was grateful because, cool, like I healed my body. I was told I was infertile, and I healed my body enough to where, because at that point, it was like October time, which was actually really crazy. I'll get to why it's crazy in a minute. But October time, I took myself off all of my meds. I was on this infusion, which was like 6 hours long. Cost me a butt ton and like $400. Sometimes it would range, and I don't know if it's because I would eat snacks or like if maybe they use more supplies. I don't know why it would fluctuate, but it was usually like 400, maybe 600. like 5:45, I think was the highest. So, yeah, so anyway, I was on these terrible meds in October time, 22, no, 21, I took myself off my meds. Um, Doctors did not like that, but I just had a feeling I needed to. And so I started going through this holistic journey like I'm on right now with the yogurt and garlic. At that point, I was eating a lot of oats too, which I really miss. Because I made these like chocolate chip, peanut butter chocolate chip oat bars because I am a slut for a chocolate chip cookie. Okay, so if I can make it in like a healthy form, it kind of like curves that chocolate craving so I don't crave brownies. Brownies, chocolate chip cookies, and mochi ice cream. Those are like my favorite sweets. Ah. Anyway, my hair looks redonk. It's giving me Donald Trump vibes. Hold on. China. No, sorry, that's terrible. I'll never do that again. China. Anyway, okay. But so, yeah, there's a point when during that pregnancy though, I was very adamant about keeping my energy at a certain way. I didn't want to be stressed during the pregnancy because I didn't want that to get to the baby. I didn't want any stress. I wanted to make this baby as magical as I could. So literally my whole pregnancy, I ate, slept, and meditated. That was literally all I did, and listened to music, and so that kind of goes along with meditating. But yeah, so at that point, that's when I noticed a lot of manifestations happening. And so I was receiving help that I needed to get out of the situation, and I recognized that my lease was going to end and I could probably leave and finally get into a home. And because I initially come down here, and me and a friend who was a friend, not anymore, his name was Chris, and he and I were talking about like rooming a house together. Like he would rent a room, like we would rent it together, right? And so then like last minute when the day we were supposed to sign, he dipped, and I was like, the fuck? So I still wanted to come down here, so I got an apartment. And so now at this point, obviously I'm in a house, and let me tell you exactly the manifestation techniques. I don't know how long this video is, but I think we have enough to talk about the techniques that I used to get here. And this is where it's very neurodivergent friendly, because yeah. So one thing though, and like I said, the lean into it method. That's kind of my favorite method because, shit's gonna go wrong, might as well lean into it. You're gonna be the black sheep, might as well just be the black sheep. Stop trying to appease the people who are trying to, make you not be that. You're the weirdo, might as well be the weirdo. Stop masking, those kind of things. So just lean into it. You're sick, just lean into being sick and learn all you can from being sick, So that's kind of how I view it. And so while I'm sick, I just lean into it. I sleep, I medicate my body in the way I need. Like a lot of it's garlic, smoothies, so oil of oregano, the Schweed helps with the pain a lot. Cause like your nerves, if you have chronic pain, your nerves get like up here, so it kind of emotionally regulates. Not kind of, that is what it does. So, but that is going to be a big thing when it comes to manifesting, because those bad things that happen in your life, like I was stating previously, are not bad. They're neutral, right? And it's whatever your frequency you're vibing on is how it's going to react. Okay, so if you're on a low frequency and you see this thing happening, you're going to see it as like a total low. So you're already vibing on a low frequency here, and as opposed to here, Mr. Krabs. Anyway, so you're already vibing on like super low level. You already feel like shit, you're depressed, you're sleepy, you're sick of your job. You're already at a low level, right? And then boom, lower. And you're like, I didn't know life could bring me lower. And life is like, boom, lower. You want to know why that happens? Because life, universe, energy treats it like, how I can best describe is like an algorithm or a mirror. What you put energy into, what you choose to see, is what it's going to give back. Okay? If you're looking in the mirror and saying, ugly, disgusting, that's what you're going to see in the world. Okay? The universe is going to mirror that back to you. If you look in the mirror at yourself and you're like, beautiful, sacred, spiritual, divine, wonderful, whatever, you're going to see that in the world, okay? And much like an algorithm, what you pay attention to, what you give attention to, it's going to feed you back. If you're going to feed your attention to the negative things, yes, negative, 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 I'm going to complain and focus on the negative, it's going to algorithm that back to you. It's going to feed you more of that, okay? And you can see that it's happening. You can recognize that it's happening without giving it your full energy, okay? If you're gonna you have that energy regardless. I remember a lot of the things. I remember like shopping and like Black Friday sales and things like that always gave me like an anxious energy, right? So there's certain things, it is all energy. It's not really magic, but it is magic because it's stuff it's the unknown. We still don't fully understand it, right? So, when you reach those low points, just accept it. Don't take it for negative. Is what it is. I'm still kick-ass. I'm still beautiful. You're still beautiful. Life is still beautiful. Yeah, this shit's happening, but it's going to make something beautiful. Yeah, the storm's happening, but the flowers are going to bloom right after. You don't see the storm happening. It just looks wither and dreary and, but the flowers bloom after. Okay? And you got to remember that with your successes, with your manifestations. Get excited when you see a storm. And that's how I've learned to manifest things, because it became a pattern. I started recognizing, like, okay, something's bad happening, but every time something bad happens, like literally right around the corner, it works in my favor and something good happens. And that's why they say, like, people feel like the good never win, but the good do win. The good have to have boundaries, okay? But the good do win, because while the bad energy is hitting you, that's going to happen regardless. You having the good energy transmutes that. So it's going to turn in your favor because you have good energy. And that's where, those little things, when you start connecting how those things have happened in your life, at least for me, I was able to start trusting myself, trusting the universe more. And there were intuitive things that would happen more and more that I would trust that I was on the right path, whether it be angel numbers. There's like a sense of feeling that happens to me. It's kind of, my friends on the stream describe it like that's so Raven, but I don't know how to describe it. It's pretty much like I get this feeling that I'm in a certain place. Not a feeling like I'm actually there. Like my mind sees it. Like I'm literally seeing that even though I'm right here. And for instance, before my apartment, I know this is scattered, sorry. I don't care. It's ADHD. But before, with my apartment, I would get these intense flashes in my brain while I was driving of like a certain neighborhood. And then I applied for this house at this certain neighborhood. And when I drove down to see this house, it was the exact neighborhood that I kept envisioning and like picturing, but I could feel myself driving down, and I was like, this is the exact one. I don't know what it meant, but all I can think is maybe it means that I'm on the right track. Maybe it just means that's like I saw it happening and I was there, all of a sudden. So there's things like that that I take as signs. And, the Bible will tell you that things come in dreams, and I take dreams as signs. I've had plenty of dreams that have been what you ever want to call prophetic or whatever, where there was one point where I needed some secondhand bats. I needed a lot of them. And I literally had a dream. I needed like 10 of them. And I had a dream. I went to this direct Goodwill, and I went there, and there was like a bin full of secondhand baseball bats and a ton of them. And later the next day I woke up and I went down to that same Goodwill, and I know that Goodwill because I worked there when I was like freshly 18 for like a week or two. I hated it. So anyway, I was like, okay, well, let me, I've searched all the Goodwills on my end. Let me go to that one because it was way off far end, 30 minutes, maybe even 40 at the end of the town, in a whole different town, actually. So I went there, and lo and behold, literally what I saw in my dream was there, all those baseball bats, and I was like, what the fuck? That was scary, but cool. Anyway, so at that point, I understood that there was some intuitive shit happening, and I was like, okay. So now, like, I'll be around people, and I'll get bad dreams about them, and I know I'm not supposed to be around them. So that's what I mean by intuitive. People, I would talk about this on stream, and people come in thinking like I'm trying to play woo woo or like I'm trying to play psychic. Or it's not about that. It's literally just being in touch with yourself, and we are so forced, not forced, but yeah, like we are so all about the external world, you know, bills, work, etc., etc. And that is important, but more importantly is what your inner world looks like is what your outer world will look like. I went through so much as a kid, health-wise and abuse-wise. I could not fathom a life of having to work myself onto the ground even more. I couldn't. And so I was adamant that even as a kid that I was going to have a very laid-back life because I've had this since I was 6. So I knew, okay, when I get older, I'm going to have to hire someone for like cleaning my home, helping my dogs go for walks. I'm going to have to hire someone to maybe cook meals for me at a certain point, you know, and that requires money, and that's going to require me to be kind of wealthy. And I'm fine with that. And I used to have shame with admitting that I wanted to be wealthy, but I have no shame because I know that's the one way I'm going to be able to help people the most. And not just by my videos, but I think, you know, if I were to have anything in the world, you know, if I had all the money, then I feel like if it wouldn't be just like never or not, it wouldn't just stop ending. It's not like a lottery check. Maybe I'll win the lottery, but I don't think that's where my money source is going to come from. I think once I hit that abundance, it will always be overflowing, and I will always be able to give to people and help people. And so, because I really want to prove that I'm hungry. I really want to prove that people with a lot of money can be good people. Now, if I become a bad person, off with my head. Anyway, so when you start your manifesting journey, your level of resistance is really going to impact what's coming for you manifestation wise. So the more you can lean into the negatives and the more you can view them as neutrals, it's going to be so impactful on your spiritual manifestation journey. Because later on, for me anyway, what's happened is I've gotten better at just feeling good all the time. So when something bad happens, I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. Something's going to come from this. Something good. So, and now I just trust that because I've seen the pattern, right? So that's where like the big woo-woo creators are always like, oh, just believe you found $1 on the ground, just trust. It's, you gotta really build the fundamentals by going back in what you experienced in your life. And you know these things happen and this occurred from it, so like nobody else would know that, only you. So that's where you got to trust in yourself. You know, these experiences are meant for you to start learning how to trust in yourself. And you might trip while hiking up a mountain, but you learn to be more sure-footed while hiking up that mountain. One of my favorite sayings is like, a skilled sailor doesn't sail smooth waters. You know, you can't learn to be what you want to be, you know, and some people, maybe they don't want to be anything, maybe they just want to relax and stuff, but do you really believe that you deserve to relax your whole life, you know? Because if you do, then you would be. And some people are like, oh, well, I have work, I have this. I get that, but if you think you deserve it, then you're telling me at that point that your work deserves more of your energy than you deserve putting into yourself. So that's where it came for me, where I started to stand and know. Oh, I'm so hungry. I gotta drink a smoothie. Anyway, so sorry. Yeah, I think like the catalyst is always there, and that's why I say that it's so important, because the bad things that happen are just meant to bring those good things in, and they're not necessarily bad, because the universe will always take care of you. Because while you could feel like, oh, I have no bills, I have no this, you are prioritizing relaxation, you are prioritizing this, and you're feeling good. You're keeping that vibe up. You're feeling good, you're not worried, you trust, you're leading with your heart. You know, there's been times when I was streaming for rent and I was really behind and stuff like that, and I just needed to go feel good. So I would just go for a car drive. Even though I could have used those few hours to stream, I just needed to get my energy right and not feel so in lack. Like I'm not in abundance, because that's what it was. I was always focused on what I have left to make instead of focusing on what I have made. And I'm like, oh my God, I've made this much so far. That's fucking exciting. You know, so I feel like it's, you have to switch into seeing these, you know, negatives as, if anything, neutrals. So that way you can use them, you know, more in a better way for your manifestations to come in. And one of my favorite techniques that I did was literally just closing my eyes, okay, and picturing the moon. And I think it's really important to keep your head up like this. And I just picture a moon right here in my third eye. And I just do some breathing exercises. I just feel, get my body calm and the anxiety down and stuff like this. And the thing is since I was a kid in high school, I stopped watching the news. I stopped consuming a lot of media. I'm very particular in the media that I consume because of how it spikes your stress, adrenaline levels, and cortisol levels and stuff like that. And that's why, like, even then, like, I really do think, I want to know, I'll look up this later, but I want to know, since TV's been invented, how has violence increased? How much? You know, because I really do think that is a big reason why. I'm going to sound like a mom there, but it is, because even when I don't watch murder documentaries or anything like that, but and maybe it's like, I don't know, but I get paranoid, like that's who's around, which it is, but not all of them, you know. So I think, like, these things that we watch, it's very infectious because it's an energy, and those are like low vibing energies. Like murdering someone, I don't align with that. You know, so there's very few cases I am, you know, curious about. And it's not that, like, you watching it means you align with it. It's just that it messes with your stress levels. So then you're always seeking out, like, other ways to feed that stress level, because it's creating that anxiety. And I understood that from as a kid. Like, I like the movies and stuff, but it always created like an anxiety in me, and I don't like the anxiety, so I had to stop watching them. And now I know why. You know, that's the point of it, is to keep you at that level of feeling. And the more you can get rid of that stress, and we're meant to create, okay, whatever that looks like to you. If that just looks like being the best version of you, you are a creation, and you are creating with however you express your human body flesh suit, okay? So you could literally lay in a field of flowers and eat grapes all day, and you are creating, because the way you chose to decorate your body that day, the way you chose to speak to others, that is creation, okay? And people really don't take that into account, because it's all energy. It's all good energy. That stuff is good energy. And people are in fearful state that they won't have money, they won't have this, because this, the thing is you've always figured it out, right? And for me, I come from this point of view where I have to say, like, I don't have options, right? Like, for me, I can't just go out and get a job because of my joints, and it can just be immediately, like the next day I can't walk, you know, kind of thing. So for me, that's what it is. So I know not everybody's like that, and some people even like working, and that's okay. I like working. If it were my own job or a job that I like working, and I'm healthy, yeah, it's fine. So as long as you're happy and you love what you do, it doesn't have to be anything profound. It can be profound, but the important thing is not to focus on the money. The money is going to lead you off track. when you're focused on your happiness and what you love to do and only having people who love you around, that's going to bring in the money, okay? Because if you want money, if you think you deserve it, vibing at that energy, it's going to attract that. Because I think money flows in at a level where you feel abundant, okay? You can be a bad person and still feel abundant, okay? I understand that. There's tons of them, okay? But that's the thing. Bad people, I don't want to say bad, but people like that, they manipulate and have to go through toxic cycles, and it does not feel good at the end of the day. Whereas if you're a good person and you mean good, it might feel like right now good people don't win, but they do. They always win because energy always favors the good, okay? And you just gotta trust, and you can trust in the universe, you can trust in yourself, whatever. There was a point where I just said I was gonna believe I'm a god, and we're gonna see where things go from there, and look where I'm at. Not that I believe I'm a god. I believe essentially everyone's a god, but more importantly, if we're all creations of God, a piece of God, made in the image of God, we are a reflection of God, and we all have the abilities that God does in a sense, because we're magical creatures of this earth. So yeah, those are kind of just the things that I've had to break down over time to get to manifesting quickly. And now I feel like my manifestations happen within days, weeks, month. And I don't know, it's like any time now, which is funny because now how I see the pattern, I'm actually like scared. Not scared, but I'm like, okay, like anytime now the restaurant is going to manifest and I need to be ready. So now it's like I want that so bad. So it's like you have to prepare for that life you want and take those steps and trust in yourself, okay? That all is so imperative to your manifesting techniques, okay? Mine are very easy because my ADHD doesn't have the time. So now we get to the good part, okay? Because all that stuff that I said before is very imperative. I hope you can relate it to somehow in your life, because negative things aren't necessarily negative. View them as neutral, if anything, because something around the corner is going to happen from that. When you see that negative thing happen, just know, it's like when nighttime happens, daytime's around the corner. Just know that that good thing is just around the corner. It's about to happen. The more time you spend trusting, and trust me, I've been through this, okay? If you have questions, ask. But I love this song, Family System by Chevelle. It's my new hyperfixation. That boom, boom, boom. Anyway, so, yeah. God damn it, I wish I could rewind this to see what I was saying. I forgot. But, I'm a little bit behind. I was supposed to start streaming, but it's okay. I'll start streaming here in an hour. Don't look. But breaking down those belief systems is the hard work, okay? That's why I said before, like, when I was really sick, I couldn't just go get a job when I was pregnant. I had to sit down and think, how? And doing the inner work was harder than anything. It's taken years to do the inner work. While it would take years to do the outer work, I don't think I would be in this position if I did the outer work, because I physically could not do the outer work. What was I going to do, So that's kind of where I think I've just been forced into the situation of really learning how manifestation works. Because of my ADHD, I learn about it in a very specific way, because I hate the woo-woo-ness of it. I hate the lying. I hate the fakeness of it. There's truth to it, but I want to figure out what the truth is. And so now I think I've like streamlined it. And it's not about manifesting, but it's really just about really believing that you deserve these things. And the best thing you can do is just continually tell yourself, no matter how uncomfortable it is, that you are beautiful, you deserve these things, you're wonderful, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're capable, all the good things. Think about the person that you've loved the most in your life, and like what words would you attribute to them? And apply those to yourself. And maybe you're not that now. Maybe you're not fit. Maybe you're not wealthy. Maybe you're not abundant, and whatever. Still apply that to yourself, okay? So when I was in my apartment, I had an overwhelming feeling. When I was looking for houses, I had an overwhelming feeling to pack, like in my bones. Like I knew I had to pack. So I got everything packed, placed in the living room. And finally I got moved into a home. It was a little bit of a fucking whatever, it's a little chaotic and annoying, but nonetheless, I got moved into a home. And so I felt like that was just like, I was being called to pack kind of thing, crazy as it sounds. Universe energy was just speaking to me to pack my stuff and get it all ready to move. So I was ready to move. Um, and you guys know how I got accepted if you're new. So I was manifesting as much as I can. I was believing as much as I can. As a matter of fact, I would stand, my apartment had these two big windows. I would stand there and just envision my dogs, like pretend I'm looking out my backyard, envision Beef and Shredder just wrestling. And now literally I have two big ass windows and I watch them, literally what I imagined. I watched them do the same exact thing, wrestle in my backyard through these big ass windows. And it's so incredible. And I just trusted that the universe would take care of me. And the day that I got so frustrated because I had applied at so many houses and they rejected me from all of them, and I was reading my phone and I just put my phone down and started crying, and I was like, oh my god, like what am I even supposed to do? I felt like I was called to pack. Like, was I crazy? Am I going crazy right now? Like, what's going on? And so I was crying, 5-10 minutes, and then boom, I look at my phone. I look at my phone again and go into my email, and there's an acceptance for this home. And I never even applied for this home. I just gave my apartment people my info, and they, I guess, just approved me for a random house. So boom, I was approved for this home, but this home is so perfect. It has a bedroom, a door to the backyard from my bedroom, has a door to the backyard from my kitchen, has doors to the backyard from the living room, which is great because the dogs, especially when I'm sick, I can go in there, go to that door from my bedroom and just open it so they can go bathroom, which is so nice because I don't think I could have physically healed if I was in that apartment because I have this mold toxicity, and same with the dogs. And so now I'm able to heal physically, which is its whole other thing within that. But it's allowed me to take care of my dogs. It's wheelchair accessible. So it's like just the most perfect house, and it's in a gated neighborhood, and I was being like stalked by this crazy fucking dude. My son's father, who I call Voldemort, his name is Justin Becker. He's crazy, gets physical with pregnant ladies and non-pregnant ladies and disabled people and abuses animals. So he's in Arizona, keep an eye out for him. He's literally a demon. He's a sociopath. He's been diagnosed with ASPD, so anyway, but at that point in time, I wasn't just like, I've always been in really rough spots, and that's why I knew I deserved to get out of this, but I wanted to get out of it. And so, I don't remember what I was saying with fucking Voldemort, but nonetheless, oh yeah, because he was stalking me and being fucking, I have restraining orders on him. So, this area is gated. It's way out in the middle of nowhere, so I feel very protected. It's by horses. It's on farmland. I love it out here. And this community is so nice. I've had trouble with having good neighbors in the past, and I talked about that on one of my videos. And this is the first time I've had neighbors that are actually nice. Like, they take in my garbage for me without me asking. And I never talk to them. They just do it because they see me struggle walking, and usually people are really mean to me because of that. So, I just think I was placed here to really hone down on my spiritual journey and manifestation levels and shit like that, and be able to teach people, because I think everybody deserves this. I think if you can get through those levels of trauma and understand how you're toxic and do better and be better, then you definitely deserve it. You did the work, so you deserve it. And people think meditating is just, but it's a lot of crying. It's a lot of breaking down beliefs. It's a lot of cutting people off. It's a lot of choosing yourself over others and choosing to look like the bad guy for others and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, you know what you're about and you know what you're doing, and no one else does, right? So one of my few favorite things that, like I mentioned, the visualization, best way for me as an ADHD person to manifest. I just grab a part of what I want, right? So right now it's health, okay? So I think of all the things that come with my health. I think dancing, motorcycle riding, walking around, what does it smell like? Am I able to walk into restaurants? What does it feel like? I go through all the five senses. So that is one thing I do. So when I was picturing the dogs outside of the apartment window, um, that's what I would do. I would see the window, and that would help with my visualization, because then I would just stand there and stare at it, and then I would close my eyes. And you know, when you stare at something too long, it kind of imprints it in your eye memory thing. Like, you can kind of see the outline. You know what I mean? Like, if you stared at a circle, you close your eyes, you can kind of see a circle. So that's how I started. Because I can do visualization, but intense visualizations like that can be a little difficult with ADHD, because you lose track, you know? So that helped me. So I would start there, and then I started just being able to do it automatically. But I would just sit there and close my eyes, and just, how would I feel seeing my dogs finally get a yard, because they were all cooped up in the yard. It was such a terrible place, and I just hated that they had to deal with that. And so I really wanted them to have a yard, and that was everything to me. And so I just really felt it. What would I feel like when I saw them in their yard? How would it smell around me? What would it feel like in the air in my home? What would it look like, you know? And everything that I wanted manifested. And I think scent is a big part of manifesting. So when I think of things like, when you manifest, I always think to go get something scent related to catapult that, right? So anytime I've manifested something, I've always gotten a scent. And I know that sounds crazy, but it help kind of levels up. It, like, every time I smell that scent, I think of that good thing, you know? So my scent has changed drastically, because now I want comfort. I want love, and like just good abundance. And I feel like vanilla gives that, like cupcake vanilla, you know, kind of smell. And so very syrupy, and you know, so that's kind of what I tie into like my manifestations. Like, oh my god, my home smells very comforting and warm. And but it's not warm, it's nice and cool, because it's hot in Arizona. But it smells very inviting, and you know. And so next step for me is to get that smell related thing. So anytime I smell that, it's like one of those, the recording, the subconscious thing. Your body isn't necessarily depicting if it's a good or bad thing, but it's kind of resonating with that energy that you put yourself on when you imagined that smell, right? So subconsciously, it's doing like the work for you. And that's kind of like my key manifesting technique. And along with telling yourself 40 times, I know 40 is a lot, but 40 times, because you have to believe it. You have to believe you're worthy, you're beautiful, you're wonderful. And you have to, you know, the Bible says you have to take action, inspired action on things. And a watch pot never boils, much like the double slit theory, okay? I think I was getting into that the other day. The double slit theory is where pretty much they realize that shooting some balls into two double slits, they would behave a certain way, but then when they would watch it, it would behave one way, and when they wouldn't watch, it would behave a different way. So you watching direct your manifestation, it's going to probably take some time to come in, and it's probably going to impact it differently. So that's why it's important for you not to have any expectations, and just whatever. The watch pot never boils. It's going to boil. Just stop watching it, okay? Look away. Distract yourself with creating, happy, keeping that energy high, okay? So no worries. And you're going to worry, okay? Trust that you're going to worry, because, and that's okay. Just lean into it. Why are you worried? Then do something about it. Get that energy out. It's energy. Don't let it remain stagnant. Meditate. Take some breaths. Why are you worried? Because you're scared it's not going to work out. Okay, well, why are you scared? What's the worst that's going to happen? Lean into it. Talk with yourself. You know, people say it's crazy to talk to yourself. I think you're your own best friend. You should talk to yourself. And if you're not your own best friend, then there's your number one problem why things aren't going well in your life. So you have to be your number one best friend. You have to be your hype man, because people are fucking awful sometimes, okay? And I don't mean they're awful, but everyone's dealing with their shit. And not everyone knows how to healthily deal with it, okay? So that's like my favorite manifestation technique, is just like talking to myself in the mirror. I literally, like I say, I smack my ass and call myself beautiful. I literally do that. So that's why I tell you guys to do it. Because how I talk to you guys is how I talk to myself. So, and that didn't start just one day I believed it. Like, it just took over time. Like, I was like, I'm finding myself. I believe in myself. I love myself. I made a mistake. That's okay. Now I know better, and I can do better. And there's a lot of things that I do really good at, and I'm really grateful to be me, and I like to be me. I love being me. So those things become habitual, and you actually end up feeling those. You might not feel it right now, but believe that you will feel it, and that's the base of it. And then from there, when you just get intuitive feelings, just follow that. There's going to be times when you're going to be wrong, but that's important because you need to learn the wrong intuitive feelings from the right intuitive feelings, you know? And that way you can learn more to follow the real intuition and not something that's maybe out of ego or whatever. Because a lot of times that's what I would have to do is sit down and I'm like, okay, if I didn't get this manifestation, I'm bummed, but was it out of ego? Was it out, everything happens in the right time when it's meant to happen. So if you just keep leading with that happiness and trust, it will happen. A lot of times we get in discombobulated energies, and a lot of times we let energies impact us that aren't ours, and that's why it's important to meditate. Take some time for yourself. Just don't distract yourself with the phone. Just breathe, listen to music, settle the nerves, settle your body. Take those deep breaths deep into the lungs, let it out a few times. Just calm that nervous system, okay? And from there, like, start talking to yourself like you would your inner child, like you would a young kid. Like, you're smart, you're capable, you can do these things, Believe in yourself, you got this, and reflect on times that you did get this. At this point, if you're watching this, you have made it through every single one of your bad days. Even if you are currently having a bad day, you're still alive and you're here and you're fighting. And you've made it through. And that's something to be proud of. That's something to stand on and recognize, right? So believe you're like a fucking warrior, dude. This life sucks. It really does. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. It sucks. But we all deserve to get the good things out of it. And if I can do it from the bottom, now I'm here. And I'm not even at the top. I feel like I'm in the middle still. But I feel like this would be really great for people. A lot of people who want this would be more than they could ever hope for, I want to be able to have a compound restaurant, like the big deal, so that's what I'm working towards. But if you think, oh, I just want a house, I don't need that, I want just stability, you deserve that, and you can get it easily. You can easily get it. A lot of it is internal work. One of my favorite other manifestation techniques is using the shower. So I had a shower chair. So if you have a shower chair, I recommend using a shower chair. But you can stand. But just stand there and clog the drain and just think about all your worries. All the worries in the world. All the worries that you have. My health, my finances, everything like that. All the worries. And just let the water kind of like wash those worries into the water below you, right? And just as long as you need 10, 20 minutes, think about all your worries. Think about them. Nothing else but think about your worries, right? Because a lot of times we don't think about them. We try to distract ourselves from the worries. Okay? And then once you're done, once you feel better, and for me, I actually speak it out. I think there's power in speaking things out. So I talk it verbally into the shower. I'm literally talking in the shower, like what my worries are. And once I'm done, once I feel good, once I think I've talked about everything, sometimes I mention things more than once and talk about it. Like I literally talk about it. I circle back to it more than once. Once I feel like it's out and good, and then I unclog the drain and let it drain down. I let it go down, okay? And then now the new water coming over me, I pretend it's just like giving good things. You're capable. You can do it. You've done this before. You've made it through all your bad days. You're smart. You know what's best for you. You're intuitive. You've got this. And these are words that I've spoken to myself from a long time ago, And it's just the biggest part of putting that trust in yourself and believing. And you'll see things that happen, and slowly it'll build that trust. It'll just happen for you. You don't really have to put too much into it. The fact that you want to do it, the universe will sense that. God, universe, whatever. It knows because it's energy. So it interacts with that energy because you are a part of the world. I wish I could I wish I could emulate what's in my head. I just call it a ribbon. So when you think about like yin and yang, how like if you just think of it like a ribbon, like it's all tangled and whatever, but it's all coinciding with each other because this one doing one thing connects to this one doing another thing. It could be like string theory a little bit, but I really just think it's a ever looping ribbon, and we are individual little pieces on it, and it's all connected. And so the energy that you are is the universe. Okay, so once you realize that, then things start getting immensely better. Okay, so those are literally the two techniques that I use that help me the most. I like scripting. I've always scripted. I have a big whiteboard, but I don't follow that as much anymore because I've realized that's why my manifestations took so long, because the scripting, as long as you have expectation, it's going to halter things. So if you can script without expectation, recommend. For me, it just set in the expectation. So I, with the expectation there, I push, I self-sabotage, and okay, so I expect this to happen in 6 months, so I got to do stuff as, and then you're chasing it, you're chasing after it, and that means it's running from you. So I don't have that energy anymore. I want to sit here and build a garden to attract the butterflies instead of chasing after the butterflies, you know? So, and I feel like I could attract more butterflies that way anyway, more blessings, and that's kind of how it works. So I've built my life to just attract things, and that is a firm belief in myself, is just I attract, I don't chase anymore. Some people don't mind chasing, but I think if you get exhausted and you are exhausted from life, attract the hell out of it, because you can chase it and get what you want. I believe in you. I don't think that you can't chase things. I don't think you can chase things and not get them. Eventually you'll get them, but it gets tiresome, right? So I'd rather attract those kind of things. So, I attract. I do not chase is a big common affirmation, and it's a big one I use. Things work out easily for me. They always work out for me. And this is like just truth. And I think just by the way you can hear I talk, you can tell that this is just my truth. And I always get what I want. I work for what I want. I always get what I want because the universe wants me to have what I want. And I deserve what I want. So I always get what I want. And that's literally become my living truth. I shit you not. I don't care if it comes in right now. It'll happen when it's meant to happen. When I got my motorcycle, I was imagining, because someone stole my motorcycle. So I wanted to replace it because that's the one thing, that and dancing are the two things that I do to get my anxiety out when my joints are good. So when I was manifesting my motorcycle, I imagined how I felt on my other motorcycle. And once again, smell, sight, feeling, that's what I would imagine, right? And because I had these internal beliefs, I deserve this, I know, I always get what I want, I'm going to get it, blah, blah. I ended up imagining myself on a R6, but I couldn't fit in an R6, so I leveled down to R3. So, but I got that motorcycle. I have that motorcycle sitting out front right now. And then I needed a car, because I got really sick, and now I can't drive my motorcycle until my hip is better. So I needed a car. So I'm like, okay, I need to manifest the money for a car. So then I use this idea that anytime I'm driving around and I see a Mini Cooper, that's a sign that I'm going to get my car. And I would imagine myself, like I would be renting cars from Turo, Turo, one of my favorite apps. But I would rent cars from there, and I would imagine myself driving a Mini Cooper as my car. You know, I would just imagine the emblem right there, and I was already driving cars, so that helped. So I would just picture myself driving a Mini Cooper. And so now I have a Mini Cooper sitting outside, and both my Mini Cooper and my motorcycle match each other. It's so cute. I didn't intend for that to happen. I just kind of find the lowest, cheapest price because I'm not really picky. And that's the other thing, is living below your means, okay? Until you can afford to, live below your means. Don't go splurging. Don't go doing crazy stuff. You know, live below your means. If you need something, that's what you need to be getting and focusing on. Nothing more, okay? Don't look. What if? Anyway, so that happened, and that's kind of, you know, the same way I manifested my home, is you catapulted what I had in front of me as the future scenario, right? So, I hope that helps put into idea, like, I'm not lying when it comes to this manifesting shit. I'm still manifesting good health, and I think I'm leaning into it. I'm trying not to be in a rush with things because it's still hot. I don't really want to ride my motorcycle. it's getting cooler. I trust now with eggs in my diet and stuff, things will get better. And I manifested good health. And funny enough, a lot of stuff on TikTok actually helped me heal myself. And it's funny because it's like an algorithm, right? So that's how I know that the universe kind of works like an algorithm. But right now, I'm currently trying to manifest good health, and things are getting better now that I know what's going on and stuff like that. My health is just going to get better. It's been getting better since I've cut the eggs out. I had coffee yesterday. I actually don't feel anything. So I'm excited for this week because I know I'm just going to feel better and better. So manifesting good health and manifesting that stability, and I sense that's right around the corner. So I'm excited, and that's what I urge you to look at life like. When bad things happen, you stop having the neutral effect towards them, believe it or not. When bad things happen, I have to shut the fuck up about it because I actually get excited. Like, and it looks crazy. It really does. When people are mean to me, I get excited. I'm like, ooh, there's something in me that I know is so fucking awesome. Same thing with the finances, you know. And it's because in those low times you learn something different, you do something different, you feel something different, you follow something different, whatever it might be. And so the low times always bring innovation, creativity, good things, you know. And at a certain point you learn to lean into it and view those bad things as like legit good. Like this is the nighttime and then the daytime's coming. Both have their advantages, right? There's a lot of learning to be had during the night, in the darkness and everything. Lots of learning, lots of growth, and that's such an advantage. So many people don't even do that, okay? So, I think for now, that's what the gist of manifesting we're going to talk about. I have to stream. So I would not cut this off early if it weren't for that, but, we're going to stream so I can hire a lawyer, sue my landlord. Anyway. So, yeah. I appreciate y'all listening, though. And thank you for watching all my videos. I hope this helps someone. And I'll be posting more about manifesting probably this week. We'll probably just talk about this week. Because it's so in-depth, but it's very easy. It's all about eliminating those fears and getting out of that fear and survival. And there's so much of my life that helped me get out of that I think could help people who don't want to work full-time their whole life and stuff like that. And be wealthy and have that stability, whatever it looks like, financial, physical, etc., etc. So, don't forget you deserve good things, okay? I adore y'all. Thank you again for making me feel welcomed in the YouTube world and a part of the YouTube world. I hope you guys have a good Monday. Take care of yourselves. Know you're wonderful, okay? Believe it, or else. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I love y'all. Hydrate, eat. Have a wonderful day, okay? Thanks again for being wonderful and listening. Toodaloo.